Yo, Darious Britt here, and this is part 2 of Ex Machina, a closer look. If you have not seen part 1, I will leave a link in the description section. And also, if you're trying to learn cinematography and the psychology behind camera placement and camera movements, etc., it really helps to break down other films. Every film is a textbook. What I do believe is about that time to get into it. Lies, lies, lies. In this scene, Caleb is updating Nathan on the session that he had with Ava, and when Nathan asks Caleb what happened during the power cuts, Caleb pretty much lies through his teeth. Now, Caleb may be lying, but the camera's definitely telling the truth. They're together for the first part of the conversation. Everything is friendly and honest. We can see a little bit of Caleb in Nathan's coverage and a little bit of Nathan in Caleb's coverage. Visually, they're on the same page. As the scene progresses and Caleb withholds info from Nathan, we slowly push in on both actors until we end up with 2 clean singles on the actors.
So what happened?
Nothing.
By the time Caleb outright lies to Nathan, both actors are isolated in their own frames. Dramatically, they're divided, and visually, they're divided. When Nathan buys Caleb's lie, we bring them right back together again in a 2-shot.
Nothing? She didn't remark on it at all?
We play with the eye lines in this scene as well. We cover the entire scene from one side of the eye lines except for one moment, and that is the moment Caleb hesitates under questioning.
And what about the power cut?
Sorry?
The power cut.
The eyeline jump visually punctuates Caleb's moment of hesitation because it's inconsistent with the rest of the scene. It sticks out. Once Caleb regains his composure, we jump right back across to where we were. Session 3. Caleb and Ava continue getting to know each other in session 3. What I find interesting is whenever we're on Caleb, Ava's dirty in the frame. But whenever we're on Ava, she's completely solo. She doesn't share her frame with Caleb, especially when she's talking about her dreams.
A traffic intersection would provide a concentrated but shifting view of human life.
When she suggests they go to the intersection together, she's included in his frame, but he's still not in hers.
We could go together.
It's a date.
Interesting. She's excited, but she's still by herself. They could have given them matching frames, but they didn't. Caleb sees her in his future, which is why she's included in his frame, but he's not included in her frame, so maybe it's because she doesn't really see Caleb in her future? Later on, she throws on some clothes and a wig, comes back. Then we cover this scene from the other side of the eye line so that visually it looks and feels a little different from the scene before. Again, Ava's isolated in her own coverage.
I'd like us to go on a date.
Yep. Yeah. It'd be fun.
While Caleb is still including her in his frame. Things change when Ava turns up the heat on the flirting, though.
Are you attracted to me?
What?
Are you attracted to me? You give me indications that you are. The way you hold my gaze.
We then push in on Caleb and Ava falls out of his frame. This is the first time Caleb occupies his own frame without Ava in this scene, while he's talking with her anyway. And it happens to occur at the moment when he becomes suspicious of her. Is it possible she's been programmed to flirt with me? Towards the end of the scene, he's no longer looking at being together with her in the future because suspicion has set in. So both actors are isolated in their own frames. Sexuality. Caleb speaks with Nathan about why he felt the need to give Ava sexuality, and Kyoko listens in on the whole conversation. The scene starts with 3 shots of Kyoko. One cutting fish, another close-up with her ear towards us, kinda like she's listening, and then the 3rd shot, she's foregrounded, in focus, while we see the 2 men chatting in the back out of focus. Starting the scene off with 3 shots of Kyoko as the men are talking really drives home the point that she's listening. As Nathan and Caleb debate the necessity for gender in an AI, we have 2 close-ups of the actors. But when Nathan details Ava's sexual capabilities, we switch to a wider lens on both actors and we shoot Caleb's coverage dead on.
And in answer to your real question, you bet she can f***.
What?
Going wider and shooting Caleb head on really helps to punctuate the awkwardness of that moment. Part of the effect comes from the fact that we typically associate wider shots of characters in moments like this as comedic. And then we go back to 3/4 close-ups. Halfway through the conversation, we cut back to our coverage of Kyoko, reminding us that she's in the room listening. Now, when Caleb stands, he's taking a dominant position in the scene while he continues to grill Nathan. The camera now looks up to Caleb, empowering him, but it also looks up to Nathan as well.
I programmed her to be heterosexual.
just like you were programmed to be heterosexual.
Nobody programmed me to be straight.
Usually when one character stands, we look up to that character and look down at the character who's still sitting, but we don't do that here. We empower both of the characters as they're doing this. Of course, we close the scene out with our coverage of Kyoko listening, in case you didn't pick it up the first 2 times. Switch me off. In session 5, Caleb and Ava continue the Turing test. As Ava becomes the world's most sophisticated lie detector, we get 2 dirty close-ups of both the actors. You can see both actors in each shot. In Ava's coverage, we start fairly conventional.
Question 1. What's your favorite color?
But as things get serious and she hits him with the harder questions, we reframe slowly to a composition where she's literally pushing him up against the frame, visually mimicking what's happening dramatically in the scene.
I don't know.
Do you have people who test you and might switch you off?
No, I
Then
don't.
why do I?
Caleb doesn't have any room in her frame. She's literally pressing him for answers, and just looking at it makes you feel kind of antsy. And then after the power cut, their focus shifts to their relationship and we recomp, giving Caleb plenty of room in the frame again. Punch drunk. Caleb and Nathan drink and chat, and then later Nathan ends up in a drunken stupor. In this scene, the focus is on Caleb as we dolly back slowly, revealing Nathan on the couch out of focus. We don't see all of him though, as he's sort of an obscure figure on the edge of the frame. His hands pop in and out of frame, and then we finally get the reveal in a wide shot, looking down into the entire room. As we hear his inebriated ramblings off screen, of course we're going to want to see him, but they reveal him to us nice and slow. Very, very interesting way of covering the scene. Closing. I loved the final shots in this film. The last 2 shots are of Ava out in the world, but they're fairly abstract. Being in a big city is nothing new for you or I, but I think for someone like Ava who's never been outside of her room before, the world must seem like a really strange place. So these shots, in my opinion, are more from her, they're more inspired, should I say, by her subjective experience. We're seeing something actually very mundane in a new way. And not about it, that is both part 1 and 2. I also do some consulting, so if you're interested in getting feedback on your films and scripts, you can do that, or I do chat with me sessions, so you can bring your questions about YouTube or filmmaking or any general questions, and you can just chat it up with me. I will leave a link to that where you can get more info in the description section. Well, that's all I got for you. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like, go subscribe. You can find me on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, or the Twitter, baby. You can also check out my second YouTube channel, Darious Britt, where I vlog about my adventures on the film festival circuit, my first feature-length film, unsound live casting vlogs, etc., etc. I do believe that's all I got for you, suckers. D-Britt out. Booyah!